first for me here in the office, trying to get our March update out to you before the phones ring more or more of our agents walk in. So, this is the monthly update where we talk about the Athens-Oconee market, and I'm going to shoot you straight. Some of the numbers here aren't really exciting. It's not the best news to report, but if we want to be your resource for accurate information, we're going to have to tell you good news and bad news. So, some of it's good for sellers. Don't get me wrong, but we would like to see these numbers be a little bit different. What we're going to do this time is we're going to take a look at the first 2 months of the year and over the last 3 years, as we like to do, kind of like a look back in history. So what we're looking at here is the total new listings for this year, the first 2 months. We're down 16%, 322 in Clarke and Oconee from 382. And the under contracts, we're down 19%. And keep in mind, 2021, we were down a little bit to start the year there too. So that was a tight market on listings then, and is a tight market again, even tighter now. We're actually seeing a pretty big rise in the sold price, and I'm not positive about those numbers there, but 310 up 378, and that's year to date. So that's not just the month of February. That's looking over last year. And then the total homes sold, a little bit alarming too. The activity is down 22% from 280 to 218. Let's look at the month of February, just that little part of the market. Now, I remember this time last year feeling like the market was very low on inventory, having a lot of hard time with home buyers, and it was. And the little bit of good news here is that we're not dragging behind last year. You might remember, and I'll get to it in the graph later, but January was really behind 2021. Well, we kind of caught up, and we had a little bit more listings than we did the year before. While it's just barely changing at 0.04%, the same can be sold for the under contracts at 96. And then a little bit of good news, you're getting used to as buyers seeing these prices jump so quickly, the 20% or more appreciation gain. At least in this month over last year, it was only a smaller amount at 9%. Where I know a lot of people would like to see our appreciation continue, but just at a more steady and lower rate. I do think that may vet out a little bit as the year goes on. But here's the most alarming number that is for me at least, is the amount of total homes sold over the month of February is down from 152 to 97. And that represents 37% decrease in sales activity. And a lot of that, has to do with some people haven't gotten ready to get in the market. You have a lot of renters that need to get close enough to their lease ending, but a lot of it is just homes not coming to market and pent up demand. And that's sort of the gridlock we're experiencing that we need to kind of talk about and help advise buyers and sellers. So here's the graphs that sort of go over what we saw as activity in these first 2 months of the year in the last 3 years. You look in 2020, the blue represents listings, the green under contract, and the red are sold. In 2020, pre-pandemic, because February was, we were way up about 450 listings at that time. The under contracts were around 250, and so were the solds. The under contract and the solds in a normal market should kind of meld together, right? Well, when they start to get out of whack is when we're putting properties in the MLS as sold, and they really never get market exposure. You look in 2021, those first 2 months, we had significantly less activity than the year before, but it was still okay. And it felt tight then, but you can see the under contracts were down and the solds were up. So we're starting to see that out of whack because things are going into the MLS as sold, and they never hit a pending or under contract status. And then lastly, here we are in this year. If you just look at the graphs, the blue, the green, the red, you can just see that it's less activity. We've got less listings at below 350, a lot less home sales below 250, and the under contracts are, really low. So overall, because of the tightness in the market and lack of inventory, we're really just seeing transactions slow down. And that means there's less opportunity happening for people. The buyers are still out there. It's not as if demand's changing or values are going down. It is becoming a grind to a halt because I'm not going to put a sign up. And it's taking away opportunities. Now, I wanted to show this graph again because there's a little bit of good news in this. And the good news is February did a little bit better listings than we did in January. If you follow these, you might have remembered I had the red down here in January, 35% down in inventory to market. We actually caught up a little bit. I went over those numbers earlier at the top, and we're up a little bit above. Let's go back and check that new listings in February, 180 to 187, right there. I'll try to slow it down. And then if we come back to our graph, we're still down below 2020. But one thing we know in this office is when people are talking to us about selling their property, it doesn't really happen overnight. Sometimes people have to vet things out. They have to get things prepared. There's pressure washing, there's cleaning, There's getting it to April, getting it to May. In some cases, they might have to wait till August to get out of their house. We have a lot of that going on. So we know there's going to be more listings coming, but it's still not going to be enough to fix the supply. And let's just take a look at what's actively on the market now. Um, this is a breakdown of the homes that are actively for sale March 1st, above 500 and below 500 in Athens, Clarke, and Oconee County. Let's take a look at Oconee on the left side. Blue represents above 500. So today there are 20 homes for sale in Oconee County, actively for sale that are above $500,000. And then there are only 10 homes for sale below $500,000. And that is one of the reasons you're seeing this rapid appreciation. The next, let's take a look over to Clarke. It's important to note that I only included residential homes here, did not include condos, because in Clarke County, you'd probably see these numbers be a little bigger, not significantly because condos are flying off the market too. Condos have begun to be a really great point of entry for first-time home buyers. And here you're looking at 32 homes for sale over 500,000. And then under, we are at 18 homes. 18 homes. This is a supply shortage. We've never seen anything like it. I worked in the market in 2000, beginning of 04, all the way into 08 when the financial crisis happened. This feels like the reverse problem. I've actually talked to some brokers about it. At that point, we had homes that they kept building and not enough buyers to buy it. Now we cannot build any more homes, it seems. We're low on inventory, supply problems, and we have more buyers than can meet the demand. However, there are some metrics that feel like it could be some positive changes. One of the things I do want to talk about a little bit is interest rates. And we had projected, as we were getting from national sources, that interest rates would probably go above 4%, maybe 4.5% by the end of the year. And the Fed even came out and said they'd have a lot of rate increases. We all know in recent news between Russia and Ukraine, there's been some international politics that are starting to come into play. And that also might impact your interest rates. We saw some of it come back down. We're still in the threes, mid to high threes. And we might see less interest rates climb because of what's going on. It's hard to say right now, but I'm just going to give you that information because as a buyer, the opportunity is still there. And the way you find opportunity is to be prepared, talk to your lender, maybe get underwritten before you make an offer. As a seller, the one thing I do want to say is I understand being a residential homeowner. And if you don't have to move, you're happy where you are, enjoy your home. Well, there's a lot of people that could help if they would actually sell properties they didn't live in. And there seems to be a fear of pulling your money out. I totally understand that. And it's your right as an owner to sell a property or not. But this appreciation gain we're seeing, it won't go on forever. I don't know if it goes on for another year, 2 or 3, but there will come a point that it will slow down and the appreciation might not fall off, but it will not continue to rise at this rate. So I think 2022 for you as a seller, if it's something you're thinking about doing, even next year, really start getting your ducks in a row to capitalize on what has been a historic real estate market before things change and ultimately the appreciation slows down and maybe the demand. Otherwise, have a great week. It's March. Hopefully spring will be here before we know it. And we're going to get more listings and we should see these numbers in the next 45 days start to skew a little bit different. Have a great week and reach out to anybody here at Five Mark if you have a question or want to get a plan in place or anything you're trying to do, even if you're not looking to buy or sell and just need some advice.